Hello, everyone. If directly listen this story, recommend to listen the previous story first. This story is the second part of the previous story. Let's continue the story. The moment they tried to settle quietly, I knew I had leverage. Not emotional leverage, structural leverage. The kind that only appears when someone realizes their version of reality can't survive daylight. The boyfriend's lawyer emailed mine first. Neutral language. Our client is interested in resolving this matter amicably to avoid further escalation. Translation. Things weren't going the way they expected. I told my lawyer one thing only: no silence deals. Because by then, the damage wasn't theoretical. I'd lost trust with people. I'd been labeled. Conversations stopped when I walked into rooms. Friends became careful. Some disappeared entirely. You don't erase that with a handshake. While legal motions moved forward, something else happened. She reached out. Different number. Short message. I didn't know it would go this far. I stared at the screen longer than I should have. That sentence carried no accountability, just distance from consequences. I replied once. Carefully. It went exactly as far as you let it. She didn't respond. Days later, discovery began. That's where entitlement collapses. My lawyer subpoenaed message logs, group chats, social media records. The boyfriend fought it, claimed privacy. The judge disagreed. When you accuse someone publicly, your privacy becomes conditional. What came out was worse than I expected. He hadn't just twisted facts. He'd fabricated scenarios, drafted messages as if from her perspective, then shared them as proof of her fear. He'd sent voice notes to friends explaining how to frame things so authorities would take it seriously. One message stood out, time-stamped weeks before the restraining order filing. If he pushes back, we make him look unstable. Courts hate uncertainty. That line ended any remaining sympathy. My lawyer added another claim: malicious prosecution. Now, it wasn't about feelings. It was about pattern and intent. That's when his confidence cracked. He started calling mutual people, asking them to clarify earlier statements. Too late. Those calls were logged. Some were recorded legally with consent. Others were documented in affidavits. He even showed up at my workplace once. Sat in the parking lot. Didn't approach. Just waited. A silent intimidation tactic. I reported it. That report mattered later. Meanwhile, she stayed quiet. Publicly neutral. Privately distant. When asked by others, she said things like, "I don't want to be involved anymore." But she already was. The deposition was scheduled on a Thursday. He showed up confident at first. Casual posture. Practiced answers. Then the questions started overlapping. Screenshots contradicted testimony. Dates didn't align. He claimed ignorance about posts he'd commented on. Claimed jokes where messages showed intent. At one point, he said, "I was just protecting my relationship." My lawyer leaned in. By impersonating another person? By filing claims you knew were false? By contacting third parties to pressure narratives? Silence. Then anger. He snapped, raised his voice, accused me of manipulation, of obsession, of ruining his life. That outburst was recorded. That outburst followed him. Because composure matters when credibility is already bleeding. 2 weeks later, his employer requested clarification about ongoing legal matters involving harassment and false reporting. Someone had sent them public filings. Not me. Consequences move independently once they're released. He lost his position. Not immediately, but quietly. Mutual decision. That's why he tried one last move. He posted. A long post. Emotional. Framed himself as misunderstood. Claimed he was being targeted by someone obsessed with his partner. He tagged mental health resources. Tried to flip the script. People responded. Not the way he hoped. Because by then, documents were public. Case numbers. Court orders denying his claims. Screenshots circulating without commentary. Facts don't need defending once they're visible. He deleted the post within hours. She finally called me after that. Voice shaking. Not crying. Controlled. I didn't think he was capable of this. I said nothing. She continued. I feel like I ruined everything. I replied calmly. You chose silence when clarity mattered. She asked what I wanted. I told her the truth. I want the record corrected. Publicly. Or I let the case finish its course. That wasn't a threat. It was an option. She posted a statement 2 days later. Not dramatic. Brief. Admitted she hadn't been honest. That she allowed a false narrative to stand. That I had not harassed her. It didn't praise me. It acknowledged reality. That was enough. The settlement followed. He paid damages. Not life-ending money. Reputation-level money. The kind that reminds you actions have weight. He also signed a non-disparagement agreement. Permanent. Violating it would reopen everything. The villain had no more moves. And for the first time since the reunion, the noise stopped. When everything finally stopped, the silence felt unfamiliar. No new messages. No legal emails. No people just checking in. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful at first, just empty. Like the aftermath of a storm where you're still waiting to hear something collapse. The case closed on a Tuesday. No courtroom drama. No speeches. Just signed documents, confirmed transfers, and a final order entered into the system. He paid. He agreed to the terms. He walked away smaller than he arrived. That was it. I expected relief. What I felt instead was clarity. Because revenge, real revenge, isn't about watching someone suffer. It's about watching them lose control over the story they try to write about you. He didn't get arrested. He didn't go to jail. That wasn't the goal. What he lost was credibility, authority, the ability to weaponize narratives. People stopped leaning in when he spoke. That kind of loss follows you quietly for years. I heard later that he moved. New city, new circle, clean slate attempt. But reputations don't reset as easily as addresses. Court records travel. Patterns repeat. As for her, we never spoke again. Her statement did what it needed to do. It corrected the record. It gave me back my name. Beyond that, there was nothing left to salvage. Some connections exist only in memory. Trying to revive them just creates new damage. I don't hate her. I understand her. Fear makes people complicit. Comfort makes them passive. And silence, when it's chosen, becomes a decision whether people admit it or not. A few friendships didn't recover. Some people apologized months later. Some never did. That told me everything I needed to know about where I stood in their lives. The strange part is, I don't think about the reunion anymore. I think about the moment I decided not to accept being misrepresented. That choice changed everything. Not loudly, not immediately, but permanently. I didn't win because I was smarter or stronger. I won because I stayed consistent. I didn't chase. I didn't beg. I didn't explode publicly. I let entitlement reveal itself. I let paperwork do what arguments can't. I let people watch actions instead of hearing explanations. That's the part no one tells you. You don't need to scream to clear your name. You need patience and proof. If there's a takeaway here, it's this. Being painted as the villain hurts. Staying silent forever hurts more. But responding with discipline instead of emotion is what changes outcomes. I walked into that reunion expecting nostalgia. I walked out years later with something better. My name intact. And if this story kept you hooked till the end, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon because every day I'm going to share a story which can be happens with you. Telling the truth gets you labeled, but it also makes for one hell of a story.